Hello, David.
Hi, Nina. Welcome, everybody, to True Liberty with the Equestrian Pedestrian. Phyllis the Beautiful, the Evolving Equestrian. Nina's active in a lot of communities, has a lot of advocacy groups, so come join them all.
Thank you. Hi, Travi. So, David, look what I have.
My least favorite item.
You don't like it because it makes your eyes water.
I did say that, yeah, I didn't want to admit that, but the very first, we've done this video a couple times because we're still figuring it out, how we want to present it to the world, not what we're saying. We already know that part. But the very first time we did it, it was really uncomfortable, and my eyes did water. Now I'm desensitized to it.
David did not want it anywhere near him. He was literally flinching every time I raised
I wanted to be like, dude, stop, this is unnecessary. But you kept wanting to dig it in, and
show you what it'd be like to be a horse.
But to be honest, now I am kind of a little desensitized to it.
Right.
It doesn't have the same effect as four videos ago.
Sadly, that happens. But here's my big point. People who defend the whip usually defend it like this. My horse has never had a bad experience with the whip, so it doesn't mean anything bad to him. He's not afraid of it because I've never used it in a bad way. But has anybody ever used a whip on you?
No, I don't have any.
Yet your natural reaction is to
because I'm worried it's going to hit me in the eyes.
Yeah, so why wouldn't a horse have the same reaction to something like this coming at him?
Being 10 times more sensitive than humans.
Way more sensitive. I think that's part of the problem, David. I don't think that people realize how sensitive they are. I think that we are taught that they are these big lug, they're thick, and they're luggish, and they're heavy, and they're big. They're very, very, very sensitive. Way more sensitive than we are. You're right about that.
I don't know about me.
Maybe not you. Anyway, so what about the history of the whip? What do you know about it?
It's definitely archaic and cruel, and yeah.
It was developed at some point, I believe probably in ancient Egypt, for the slave master to have some control over the slaves.
There you go.
So the history of the whip is not a pretty history at all. And I think every other time in peoples that have been enslaved have endured the whip, being lashed with the whip. Animals, lions, bears, anything like in the circus, also lashed with the whip. It bothers me. I find it almost a little bit offensive when people can't just say, yes, I know that it's an ugly and horrible thing.
And it's wrong.
But I just want to use it. I think I would respect that more than these people who defend it and say, oh, my horse isn't afraid of it. I don't care. It's ugly. I hate especially watching these people with beautiful horses and these lovely outfits doing these like liberty shows, and they're running around with a whip in their hand. It's so awful. I'm like, oh, it was so nice. Why did you have to ruin it with that whip? It's not pretty.
Yeah, I really want to share my experience when I first started becoming obsessed with doing liberty groundwork. I said, Nina, look, I found all these great videos on YouTube. What do you think? And she's like, none of them. And I was like, what do you mean? I said, it's just a pointer. It's just a tool, the extension of the arm. And I thought, how am I ever going to learn this liberty without that? I mean, the horse does exactly what you want it to do. And she said, I'm sorry, but we don't use whips here. And I was searching YouTube. Okay, whipless, no whip, whatever. Very few videos. So now I would never want to use the whip because it would feel like cheating. It would feel way too easy. And sometimes I like things easy, but the majority of the time I want to earn it. I want to feel like I earned it, like it's special.
And don't you want to, I mean, I think I know the answer already for you, but aren't you more trying to create something out of a relationship and friendship rather than I'm the lion tamer, you're the lion?
That's why I came here, for the horse therapeutic relationship, and then I learned that there was liberty. Most people came here they want to ride horses and do a mentorship program. Yeah, so using a whip would not be developing a real relationship. It would be developing a pseudo relationship based on some sort of authority and tool to gain dominance and power and manipulation.
Very good, David. That's exactly right. You cannot tell me that you are coming in as a friend and carry a whip. I mean, I don't buy that.
That's like starting a friendship. Hey, I have a lot of money. Oh, you like that I have a lot of money and I'm going to take you to dinner all the time, or not even a romantic relationship, but any relationship where there's some sort of
there's not a balance of imbalance of power.
And then how would you say the treats? The treats are not about imbalance because that's just life.
Well, it is here. I mean, I guess if you starve your horse and then you have the food, it's, you know, and there's another imbalance of power. But in a normal situation, giving treats through positive reinforcement should just be enhancing the other foods that are given during the day, you know, and especially if you're very generous with the treats, it takes the power away from it.
See,
right?
there we go. I was figuring out what, okay.
Some people are so stingy with those treats, they think they're going to create some kind of a problem.
Which it backfires.
It totally backfires, and it's totally opposite. Exactly. When you're stingy, the horse just is so much more obsessed with it.
And now you're losing that equal footing.
That's right.
Where they can trust you and know that the treats are going to come in plenty.
Absolutely.
So it's more of the philosophy versus,
So we just talked about how sensitive the horse is. So when you hit the horse with the whip, you can imagine it hurts.
What do you mean? They don't even feel it.
Haha, very good. That's the other thing that I hear. Oh, the horse barely feels it. Well, that's ridiculous.
If it doesn't feel it,
then why would you use it? I mean, the things that people say, it is really outlandish. If it didn't cause some reaction, you wouldn't be using it. So, obviously it's causing a reaction. Why?
because it's painful, and then it becomes embedded in their brain that that's painful, so I'll do anything to avoid getting hit that thing.
It works because it hurts. That's what I say about so many different pieces of equipment.
It works because it hurts.
Yeah, we've got all kinds of memes with that theme because it's true. It works because it hurts. But as equestrians growing up in it especially, nobody's going to tell you that. And if you don't figure that out on your own, you become brainwashed. And you realize later, maybe like me, you wake up one day and go, what the F was I doing all these years to that poor animal? What was I doing? So it works because it hurts, as with so many other tools and gadgets that we use. And why do you want to hurt your friends?
That's not why I came here. Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you want to hurt this beautiful sentient being who you want to have this beautiful partnership with and produce this beautiful art with? You really can't have this part of it.
I'm glad I never experienced anything, so this is all kind of a little foreign to me. I understand, I can imagine what it was like, but I'm so glad I never went somewhere, and I probably wouldn't have stuck around.
So, what can you do instead if you think like the only way that I can do anything is by using it? You have to just try to see what happens without it. Generally, your arm extended is plenty. That's plenty of pointer. You've got your arm, the hand, the finger. That's a lot of pointer.
When I started working with Nina, I'd watch her do Liberty, and she uses her arm all the time. And I just, like a kid watching their mom, I'm like, okay, well, I'll just use my arm too. And sure enough, it works.
It works great.
It works great.
I mean, I've never had somebody come along as quickly as you have for the Liberty. And knowing that you were copying is great. That's the best way to do. Copy someone else.
I felt a little cheesy. But then I was like, this really works. I remember the very first time you had the hula hoop with Travi, and he put one foot in, and you just went like this. And he put his other foot in, and my mind was blown. I was like, I got to learn that. I got to figure that out. And now I'm discovering that these subtle body movements, the horse is studying us. They're just staring at us. Whatever we're doing, they're going to copy. If I move this way, they're going to move that way.
I think you've noticed that that's how they communicate with each other.
I'm learning that. I'm still new to like that subtle stuff between that.
When you observe them, yeah.
Really funny.
I've never, except for playing around with a stick, I've never seen one pick up a whip and actually try to hurt or herd the other one with it. I've seen them pick up sticks and pick up whips to play with them and throw them. And that doesn't mean, see what you just said? The horse isn't scared of it. He picked it up and he played with it. It's all about the context. Mm-hmm. It's different when it's lying on the ground and it's free for all. It's different when you come at it with your intention of, I need you to do something for me now. Now.
They can feel.
Totally
they can feel our urgency. They can see our body language. Yeah, it's a whole story to them versus just, I just want you to move your leg. So,
and David, it's just not pretty. And the horses are so beautiful, and it's so beautiful to make art with them. This is like,
So Nina, these people are saying, great, okay, yada yada, you want me to stop using my whip, if you are using a whip. But then what can they do now? They've been using their whip for 20 or 30 years. They might not even be hitting their horse. What do they do now if they want to stop?
I would say the first thing to do, sorry to interrupt you, is to drop your whip and see just how it works with you pointing. Mercy surprised me one day, and she was the first one to tell me that. I didn't have a lunge whip, and I wanted to lunge her, and I just kind of thought, I'll pretend I maybe have the whip. Sure enough. And then never again with her. So
Sounds like you really wanted to make that, because somebody might say, well, I tried it and it's not happening, but it sounds like you really were intent on figuring it out.
if you are utilizing the whip to get your horse to move forward, and that's generally what you need, not your voice. If you're riding, not your leg. If you're on the ground, not your energy, or maybe pointing or showing a direction, and you are so dependent on that whip, there are fundamental problems that you need to fix. No tool should ever take the place of communication and learning how to properly communicate your desire to the horse. A whip or any other gadget should never take the place of training or learning how to communicate with them. You lose all of the most beautiful part of having a relationship with a horse when you don't seek to communicate with them.
I'm almost thinking of some controversial examples, like a police officer who only relies on his gun for everything, or a guy who has a lot of money and doesn't learn how to talk to women, just relies on the money. So it's like, if any one tool is too strong and you're not using all your other tools and all your other skills, I know those are...
That is so insightful, David. What you're talking about is balance and moderation. And that is such great advice for anything.
Which, I know we're running out of time, but like sometimes with you, when you want to work with Travi, if he doesn't want to work,
fine.
then you don't even work.
No, we
let
do
alone
not. We do not.
Talking about balance and
Yeah.
even surrendering and respecting so much that, yeah.
Respect, choice,
That takes
consent.
a lot of...
I love what you just said, surrendering, just realizing,
I was just going to say...
not today.
That takes a lot of serenity and surrendering to say, damn, I really wanted to work on the streamers today. He is not interested. Almost like with Mercy and I earlier. I was
Right.
like, I don't want to stop working with her.
It's so great because if we recognize in ourselves what our issues are, they can help us so much. But if we just keep coming in all the time, telling them what we want, we don't grow, we don't learn anything about ourselves.
And we're not treating them like horses. So then why are we working with them? I love when you said that. That really stuck with me. If you're trying to change them... then
if you're
why-
trying to take all the horse out of your horse, then go do something else. I mean, you should be attracted to this because you love the horses, not because you want to change them into, I don't know, a robot or an animatron or...
And I sure love the horses. I came here for the therapeutic purposes. So when you talk about that stuff, it's right up my alley, and I know I found the right place.
So David, conclusion on this?
It's so weird. I'm like, it doesn't bother me. Mostly because I have the hat. So if it does come out, it's like... But the conclusion, I have no conclusion. They're not in my life.
Thank goodness. And I got them out of my life, and I highly recommend that if you are addicted to the whip, that you maybe try to see what life looks like without it.
And please like the video, whether you like it or not, and leave us some comments if you don't use a whip, if you want to stop using a whip, or if you think that whips are the only way to work.
Let's talk about it. Don't be shy. Let's talk about it.
Thank you so much, Nina. It was
Thank
great.
you, David.